Here's a video. Wow. Why am I doing this video? Why? I guess a lot of left-wing outlets are doing this. Not all of them. Doing this critiquing the Daily Wire new movie. The Lady Ballers about trans women in sports is a comedy. And it's a TYT. And once again, the culture wars. They're deep into the culture wars, and see, they're the one that complaining about the culture wars, and why bother critiquing this movie if you're fed about the culture wars on the right wing, and you say the Democratic Party does culture wars, but you're deeper in doing the culture wars yourself. And other channels are doing it too. They're critiquing this. Majority Report and Secular Report, but they critique the movie itself. TYT is going into deeper, talking about the trans issue and this and that, trans women in sports, and this is not a big deal. I mean, this is not a big deal, folks. Well, it's a big deal to the trans-ish people, yeah, but like it should be an issue. But TYT is like, I mean, defending the trans issue. Trans people, they are the opposite. They're going against their own base. Whoever is left of the base. I mean, the trans people are leaving. A lot of trans people left the TYT audience. The TYT, they left the audience. So now they're going against their base, kind of, you would say. And this is not a big deal. Trans issue, people in sports. Movie issues that the kids and changing gender affirming and all that's a bigger issue. I understand that. But they're trying to make this into a teachable moment. Why didn't they? Well, I'm just gonna show the video now, people.
The Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Oh my god. Who's that guy? That's Adam
Well,
Sandler.
those are the first few seconds of a trailer.
Adam Sandler? Who's that? I don't know.
For a new Daily Wire feature-length film titled Lady Ballers, which will be released this Friday on Daily Wire Plus. So they've really gotten into
It's Friday. It's December 1st, so this is December. So a couple of days ago it was released, folks.
Film, content, business. We've talked about some of the other stuff they've produced in the past. And in case you were wondering, yes, the rest of the trailer is just like that. And if you're thinking the film could maybe be less appealing than what you've already seen, then wait until you see all the cameos, which will also get...
It's kind of funny. The trailer is, folks.
Too. And look, the message here is mostly, as you can see from what you already experienced, it's about dunking on the trans community. It's about triggering the libs. It's not really, look, this is the problem I have with it.
It's not triggering the libs. At least triggers some of the libs, but this is not a big issue with most of the libs, I think, folks. I don't think this is really. And he said dunking on trans people. Yeah, but there's some other movies. I mean, there's some other comedies but they're done by it's kind of different though. That use stereotypes against certain communities. I guess there was a show called Living Color that did that. They kind of did stereotypes of black people. It was kind of funny. But sometimes it went over the top. I think the Wayans brothers did that. That was in the 80s. and it was kind of was funny, but it went over the top at times and portrays black people like really buffoonery. It went way over the top. It was kind of in some ways a minstrel show. And you have Tyler Perry with his mama thing with the what do you call? Yeah, no Medea. Am I saying? That's kind of over the top, but I mean, this is kind of different. This is like someone else, like some outside majority, like like somebody on the outside making fun of a minority. I guess without black people, like in living color, like they were people, like they're black people making fun of themselves. But this is kind of different. So this is actually worse. But
right? It takes an issue that I personally think there should be honest conversation about, and that has to do with transgender women in women's sports, okay? And it makes a joke out of it.
Honest conversation, really. I just watched Secular Report, and they're saying that there was so they're making laws in the red states that ban trans women in the high school, like they can't go into the sports. And there's a 13-year-old, one trans athlete. I think when he was banned or something, they made a law. I don't know if he's banned, but they made a law after that. He competed, or she competed. He was banned. The band made a law after that. I don't know if I don't know if they kicked him out. But Carl Kalinske was talking about it. So I don't know if they kicked him out or he never mentioned that. But he was saying that like one in how many all the high schools, like he's saying like it's only minuscule amount people of trans people going into even the high schools. Maybe 1%, less than 1% probably. But he didn't say how much, but he was saying it was minuscule amount. And they're making laws, and it's not happening. Like 1 or 2 people got into the high school, trans people, and they're making laws, and it's a minuscule amount. And it's over the top, and this is not a big issue. The right wing's trying to make it a big issue. I mean, anyways.
And it makes it difficult for honest actors who want to engage in this conversation, not from a place of hate, not from a place of, discrimination toward the trans community. It makes it harder for them to do it because the second they have concerns and want to talk about these things, you get lumped in with the Daily Wire people who just engage in this rhetoric to dunk on transgender people. You get what I'm saying? And it bothers me a lot. So with that said, let's play a bit more of the trailer so you can see the plot of the movie. And we'll get into some more details about what they're doing and what this all means.
A guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Coach,
Alex,
we could play basketball. We have to get the whole team back together. It's time.
we're in. I'm in.
I'm in. We play.
Lady Ballers.
Mount up. Like a girl.
That's right. I'm with her. We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer, I said sport feelers.
This is silly, folks. It's really oh my god, this is silly.
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Oh, that's tired. Nobody watches. That's bad. That's really bad. Come on, that's not misogynistic, at least, right? That's terrible. She's laughing. Even she's laughing. Look at Anna. She's smirking. She's like, oh. She's laughing. They're pretending there, and it's kind of funny, but it's terrible in a way. And they don't like stereotypes. Trans people, not just trans people, women's sports, and there's more.
It's a comedy, so hopefully there's
Yeah, she's
actual
there. She's laughing. She's
comedy in it at some point. But we
they
did
pretend it's not funny. It's kind of funny, Well, the trailers, but it's silly. It's kind of stupid, and it's over the top. I mean, it's kind of it's kind of bad. He's making fun of the trans, but
I thought
trailer.
no, it was. I thought the soccer joke.
but then Dave Chappelle made fun of the trans people, so he done his comedy. So maybe you can't really. When the people when they dunked on Dave Chappelle, he made fun of the Netflix special. So, right? You could dunk on them, but you could say they're bad. But how about Dave Chappelle?
really funny because like they don't like soccer.
You don't want to cancel him. When no one wants to cancel them, he wasn't canceled, but they tried to, I guess. With the trans community, some try to cancel him, but
Right.
Lots of other people like soccer. They don't think that soccer's a real sport, and that's a new point to make.
I mean, have you seen those soccer players' bodies? It looks like a real sport to me.
I'm sure they have seen those. Yeah, that was just, oh God, like leaving aside all the political stuff, which I'm sure we're gonna like focus on or whatever, like the reason they're doing this. Either their internal hatred, as you pointed out, they are small-minded and ignorant and scared and all of that. But the political motivation of doing this, as we've pointed out many times, the reason they're focusing so much on this is because all of them are being paid by billionaires. They work at the behest of the elites in society, and they want all poor conservatives to vote for politicians that will demonize trans people, try to drive them into the shadows or annihilate them outright, while keeping taxes low. And
the thing is the culture wars. They go deep into the culture war, but it hasn't worked for them. If you go by the recent elections, but it hasn't really worked for them. So maybe we should let them go into the culture wars. The Dems should just let them go into that and then run on certain things. Run on the economy and how they're going to improve the economy. And Biden should do that. Let them do their culture war shit. You know what I mean?
passing legislation that benefits people who aren't in that group. That's why they do it. It's sad. But artistically, as a person who I produce stories, I understand the impulse to want to create things. And as you're going to point out, almost every one of these right-wing commentators at one point desperately wanted to be accepted by Hollywood. They all wanted to be artistic types, creative types, and they weren't accepted. And some of you might have been wondering this whole time why that is. Well, you just saw. That's not good. That's not funny. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just
look,
sad.
it's there's a specific target audience for that content. We're not in that audience, right?
But do you think that audience is going to watch that trailer and be like, yeah, soccer?
Yeah, I do. I
There's
do.
still, like, there
No,
is
they're gonna-
like regressive comedy.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're all equally talented.
Soccer, I think basketball is more the thing. Women's basketball, they really dunked on women's basketball. That's what I get at that. I don't get soccer.
Talented. Some are way better than others. Like, you can just tell a misogynistic joke. That doesn't mean you're going to be a good comedian.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm still stuck on the fact that they were talking about sex in front of a kid. I mean, aren't they like banning books about sexual content from elementary schools because it's inappropriate for kids? Like, what?
Either the actor or the writer are clearly predators.
Like,
That's what we've learned.
Are they grooming children? Oh my god, it's caught on tape. No, look.
Yeah, not really. I don't know.
I think there is something to be said about what these individuals wanted to previously do with their careers, how it didn't work out, and now they're going in this direction. I don't know how successful this film is going to be. I have no idea. What I do know is that they've decided to latch on to an issue that we should be able to have honest conversations about. They're not interested in an honest conversation. They're turning this into a comedy. They're turning this into something to trigger people. It's a dunk fest. And that's what annoys me about it, aside from, and I should say in addition to, just like the dehumanizing nature of all of it. And I don't know, I've become more and more of a softie in that even when it comes to people I disagree with, like I see their humanity and I see what motivates and drives them, and I think overall most people are good. And when you make a good faith effort to understand people, you just have a better view of the world around you, and it just makes you more connected to the environment around you, the people around you, and it's.
So now she's feeling empathy for the trans people. Looks like, folks. Because she sort of dunked on them in a way. So now she's feeling sorry. Sorry for them. Sorry for the trans people. Which are still her audience. Like they're still part of their audience. Even though a lot of them left. I think she's talking about the trans. She's feeling like sympathy. I mean for these guys, Daily Wire dunking on them. So
I just think it's unfair that they don't really seem to have any interest in really understanding the topic that they like to fearmonger so much about.
It's not what they're paid for.
I know, it's depressing.
You really fast, you mentioned...
They don't really care. They don't really understand. They don't really care. They just think... I guess it could be a money thing. They think they're gonna get. They think a lot of people care about this, and they make a lot of money. Well, a lot of money, but you know what I mean, for a bit of money off of this. They think a lot of people care about this, which is kind of delusional. I think this is delusional. You get a lot of conservatives, but in general, I would admit the people that are non-political, maybe they'll get that. That's the big thing. They're not into politics. Would they watch this? And would they, I mean, maybe, maybe not, probably not.
How successful the movie's going to be, but like at the end of the day, I think it's far more important to point out that it doesn't need to be successful, because they are not creating this art to try to succeed with it. They're being paid to try to influence society for political ideological goals. This is not Hollywood. They're not just trying to.
It's not going to influence society. A movie like this, I don't think so. Yeah. This is a silly movie. It's not really. Maybe she's right in a way. If they made it like a real movie about trans, then maybe she's right. If they could make a honest movie, talk about the issue, but it would be kind of slanted in that way to their view. And I just thought of maybe she's right. It could be a teachable moment, but this movie is not. Then again, why should they though? I mean, that's why this is says to change society. I don't know. I think it's more than I think it's more to make money. Cause they would make a serious movie if they really care about the issue, want to change. I mean, change society. I think this is just one of this. Make fun of the trans people, and then they want to make some money on the side. They think maybe this would be kind of. I think they think this will be kind of successful. I think, believe it or not, I don't think it's because they would make a serious movie maybe, or some kind of drama, or a documentary or something. I mean,
we gotta make the best thing that lots of people are like. That could totally fail. It could sell no tickets. I don't even know if it's going to be in theaters. It could make no money. It doesn't matter. Billionaires are still going to give them money because it's not about the quality of the art. It's believed that this is going to be successful in pursuing their ideological goals.
I think it's hilarious that they decided to cast Ted Cruz in this. right? Like Ted Cruz
Yeah, but
is in
most of the
it.
polls say people are in this issue. They're against. She's gonna say it. She's gonna bring up a polls. They're gonna say that they're against people. People that are polled are against people, women, trans people in the sports. She's gonna be. So why are they changing their minds? They already disagree. Most people, but they don't really care about the issue. I think that's the main thing. In terms of other things they have to, like the American people have to deal with. I don't think this is a big issue. That's the thing.
Yes. In fact, why don't we
We
take a
need
look?
someone with charisma in your movie.
I mean,
Obviously.
his
Okay,
argument is,
let's go to the next clip. You'll see what I'm talking about.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
Excuse me. Are these seats open? Never mind.
That's the biggest I've ever seen of a lady.
I don't care.
making fun of black people also. I might add. They're not gonna add that. Black stereotype or black men, I guess. I'm not making. I guess making fun. Oh, big kind of a stereotype. In a way, I mean. I guess we're just sexual animals. I guess. I don't know. Well, it could be a good way and a bad way. Just look at that. But these guys think the other way. I don't think they think it. Knowing these guys, they think our black men are like predators or something. At least, I mean, they're thinking. Well, some of them, anyways, think that. This is kind of like a stereotype. That's a kind of a stereotype. I mean. But anyways. And Ted Cruz, they're making Ted Cruz in a movie. Yeah. I don't really care about that. Well, maybe that's his new career, but it could be an actor, Ted Cruz. Yeah, it could be his next career.
Did we edit that, or is that actually like how they edited their trailer? What is that? I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
It might be spliced together from the trailer overall. Yeah, it was spliced together from the trailer overall.
Okay. You got Ben Shapiro and you got Ted Cruz. There's some people that for some reason think that they're interesting, I guess.
Look, I want to move on to why I think it is important to have honest conversations about this issue, right? Because what they're trying to attack is the inclusion of transgender women in women's sports, right? That is what they're trying to attack here. And while we live in a bubble and we're under the assumption that most people are actually totally supportive of the notion that trans women should be included, that's actually not the case according to the polling.
I mean, some people on the left. Yeah, you guys are in a bubble. You guys are in a bubble, you're right. You and MR. I should say you are. TYT is in a bubble. Or the audience is, they believe that. But some of the left don't actually. I mean, you got RBN and Two Dissidents. So there's other leftist channels. I think they don't really cover culture wars. And they think the opposite. People are not. They don't. They don't agree with the trans issue. I mean, or they don't know about it. But it's not a part of their lives. I mean, they don't think about it. The other issues there. But people like TYT and other some left channels that believe that, like they're in a bubble. The audience is in a bubble, and she's right in a way. But their audience, the people on the others on the left don't. Or they're only go into the culture wars. So they know that the majority don't. Majority of, because they have people in their communities don't think about. They disagree. They disagree with people, trans women in sports. I mean, I think they talked about it. Nick talked about it in RBN. He said there are people they don't agree with the trans issue, especially trans people in sports. But it's not I mean, they don't agree with, gender affirming and, but they don't. It's not a big issue with them. But these guys go into the things with these guys, and she complains about the culture wars, and then she goes right into it. That's the thing with MR, secular majority report, and secular talk. They don't really. They're into the culture wars, but not as much. And they don't really complain about. I mean, they don't fight with their audience on that. And maybe they have debates. They don't fight with their audience with that. They criticize, audience criticize them, they don't fight with them or get triggered by them like these guys do. Like Anna does, definitely does.
Which is why I think this is an issue that honest, good faith people need to talk about to come up with solutions that are fair to everyone, right? Fair to transgender women, fair to women, right? Because there are anatomical differences. Let's keep it real. That doesn't mean that you should be hateful or exclude transgender women or treat them poorly. It just means, okay, what's the right solution so everyone feels represented, everyone feels it's fair, right? So let's go to the polling.
Yeah, but this is not a big thing because there's some outliers that really, like few incidents that really are the big outliers. Like few cases that there have been few disadvantages. People that maybe shouldn't be competing in the sport, right? But how many trans people are in the sports? I mean, especially in US in the high school, and not many. Like how many is there? Not many percentage, 1% maybe. That's why this is not a big issue. I mean, and maybe the ones that are, they're not really dominating the sport. There's a few that are. That's the thing. And you hear the headlines on that. But maybe there's some that are not. We never hear about that. And it's okay, you know what I mean? They're not dominating the sport. Maybe there's a few. There's probably a few, and you don't hear about that. But you hear about the big cases that are really, like they have a real advantage, like let's dominate in the sport. I mean, and yeah, you hear about those cases, that case, but maybe there's a few that you don't hear. They're not dominating the sport, and it's not a big. See, that's why that made a big deal about it too. There's one big case that does, and I forgot the guy's name, or she, whatever. He's in a college, the university in the States. I forgot the name now. But he's dominating the sport. It was a swimming, I think. He's a swimmer, or she. She's a swimmer, and he dominated that sport, and it was a big outrage. So that was a big issue there. That really started this thing going. The whole transport. It was a big outrage.
And sorry to turn a story where we're supposed to just dunk on them into something a little more serious, but I think it is a serious issue. We're talking about human beings. Okay?
I wouldn't worry. They dunked on themselves with the trailer.
True. Okay, so regardless of whether or not you think it should be legal, this is a poll that was done by Gallup, and it was in June of this year. Regardless of whether or not you think it should be legal, please tell me whether you personally believe that in general it is morally acceptable or morally wrong to change one's gender. So 55% of Americans still find it morally wrong.
Okay.
Which I was actually surprised by that. I'm actually.
Yeah, really. I mean, you're still in the bubble, Anna. Yeah, people are they're not really keen with this, the trans thing. I mean, gender affirming, and but they can do what they want, right? That's their lives. I don't care. I mean, to me, with adults, they want to do what they want. They're adults, but the only thing is with the kids. That's the only thing. There's the issue there. Should they or should not? Should they not? That's the main. I think that's why the polls are like that. It was with the kids. But if they're like old 18 or not, they're consent, they're adults, they should do what they want. Right? It's a free country. So they should do what they want. I don't know if it's morally wrong. I would say that. Maybe. I would say it's morally wrong. I don't know, but they could do what they want. But with the kids, it's different. I mean, that's a different thing.
Actually going to go to a previous graphic. Let's go to graphic 1. Do you think transgender athletes should be able to play on sports teams that match their current gender identity, or should only be allowed to play on sports teams that match their birth gender? Only 26% say that they should be able to play on teams that match identity. 69% only on teams that match birth gender, and 5% had no opinion. So, like...
Yeah, so... There you go, yeah. Now people are... Yeah. They should play in their... They shouldn't... I guess... Yeah, girls shouldn't play with the guys, I guess. I mean... Unfair advantage. But... I want to ask the... I made a comment on this on the comment page. Why didn't... the pollster, the Gallup should have asked them, why is this a big deal? Is this a big issue with trans people in sports, trans women in sports? And I bet you they would be 80% would say no. It's not a big issue compared to inflation, rent. I mean, gas prices. Is this a big issue? I bet 80% would say no. And security, crime, you know, they're making a big deal of crime, Anna. But even this would be less than that. This will be way down. This will probably be last on the list. So I'd like to see if they made a poll like that. Like, is this a big issue? Also, I mean, and I bet they wouldn't be.
The reason why I brought up my curiosity in regard to whether that kind of film is going to be successful is because, unfortunately, the majority of Americans have this thought process, and they do see it as unfair. Like the inclusion of transgender women in women's sports, they see it as unfair, which is why I think the frank and honest conversation by good faith actors, honest actors, needs to happen without people automatically assuming the worst of the other side or the people engaging in that good faith conversation. My problem with films like this isn't...
It's unfair, yeah. But this is kind of rare, though. So I think they see it as also, like, you see them as men still, and they're competing with women, so... But you know that there's a... But you know they have a... I just thought of something, like... I guess it's a different thing. Like we have some, because like men, okay, men are competing in women's sport, but women competing in men's sport. That's maybe unfair to the woman. I mean, I guess that's different, I guess. Or it's the same thing, I don't know. I mean, it's probably different. Some would say, why should women compete in men's sport? I mean, you have some want to do this. I mean, and you see it in but mostly in the minor leagues. The minor hockey, they had sometimes they do this. And you see Michelle Louis, one time she competed with the men. I guess she did okay. She wasn't bad, right? Is that okay? Some say that's not okay either. Like they should stay in their own lane. Right? But that's what they say. Like some would say they shouldn't also compete. Like women shouldn't go into the men's sports also. They should stay in their own lane. Some would say that. But I'm not saying that. Me myself. I mean, if she wants to try. But maybe they shouldn't in a way. I mean, in terms of tennis is like different. You have mixed doubles, that's different, but basically no. Although there's other sports now, there's curling, there's mixed, there's women and men and women together. Now they have but that's kind of different. And they have track and field relays with men and women. So they have unisex. I mean, they call it not unisex. Yeah, unisex. Kind of. So, but that's kind of different, I guess. Because they have men, because the women compete against the women in that part, some part of the race. Like they don't have. I mean, or you know what I mean? It's kind of different, I guess. Anyways.
That, oh, I'm against them because they're conservatives and, no, they serve as an obstacle to that kind of good faith, honest conversation that needs to be had.
Well, it seems incredibly likely that I have a different final policy view on this, but I would say that if you do want people to be able to play on the teams of their identity, first of all, I wouldn't be too worried about that polling. How many years has this even been a thing that people have been thinking about? And for every one of those years, the vast majority of the public conversation
Exactly right. John is actually right. See, John's more sensible. He's more sensible. I like John. He's very sensible. Common sense. How many years? Not many. And this is a new thing. This is a new thing. That's what, like, nobody cares about this now in that sense. Like, this whole thing is new to everybody. All this trans issue. I mean, people don't have the right view on it, but we don't know. This is all new. This is weird. All this thing is weird to us. Well, most people, this is weird. I mean, it's hard to get understanding on this. People are trying to understand. I mean, but it's hard. Well, I won't say hard, but I mean, and they're bad actors, in this too. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And prejudice, bigoted, and but yeah, this whole thing is new. That's why this is not a big issue right now, right?
It's been about how all these trans people are predators and they're going to come for you, and it's been so overwhelmingly negative from so many people. I think it's honestly amazing that 1 out of 3 Americans are already of the position that people should be able to play on teams of their identity. So I'm not too worried about that. The poll about whether it's morally acceptable just means, do you think it's a good idea? And that number can change fast. We saw acceptance for same-sex marriage change very rapidly over the course of one decade.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So these are snapshots. I don't find them super surprising or super depressing, considering.
Exactly. He's exactly right. And she makes more of a big deal than John does. There's got to be an understanding. See? There's got to be an understanding of this, she's saying, because of the polls. I mean, there's got to be a big understanding of this, a conversation because of the polls. And you're not going to change people's... the whole thing is new. I mean, it's going to take time to change people's view on this. But Anna, she's saying, oh, you should do this. There's got to be a big understanding of this. And wow, this is terrible. People don't like this. But she doesn't like it either. I know she doesn't agree with it. I mean, some say she's really transphobic anyways. But yeah, it's gonna take time. And people will know about this if it's really... I mean, there's gonna be like, it's gonna take time. And this whole thing is new. Like I said, this is like not a big deal right now, because this whole thing is new. I mean, trans people and women in sports, to me anyway, this is new. This is like, well, I mean, and these other things people care about more. So no, we just disrespect to the activists, the trans activists who want to do that. I mean, they could pursue this, do their own thing, yeah. They could do their own thing. They could advocate their own, you know what I mean? But this thing is not. I mean, this is a thing here. It's not a big deal. But they can still try and advocate to make it a big deal. I don't not they can do what they want. The advocates, right? Trans advocates. I mean, you know what I mean. Could try and do what they want. Fight for their rights. You're not against them. But she's kind of against them because she scolded them. I mean, she and Jake scolded them when this thing first popped up a couple months ago or 6 months ago, whatever. I don't know if I did a video on it or I didn't. She scolded them for doing this, bringing this up. I mean, why do a video on that? They could do what they could. I mean, get complained, get triggered by that. She got triggered by that. She scolded them. No, these activists are doing this or terrible. They're doing the bad. They're doing the bad. They're going against their cause. This is not a big thing. They shouldn't bring it up. Let them bring it up. They do what they want. It's not a big deal. Then don't comment. They make it a bigger deal by going against them.
Considering what the conversation about these issues has been like, and honestly, if you want people to be able to play on the teams of their identity, having people who are so obviously driven by hatred and fear and just wanting to punch down and mock people, they tried that strategy on same-sex marriage, and they tried to destroy. Now they're on trans people. They tried to do that to gay people. Did that really help them? I think a lot of reasonable people are going to be like, I don't want to be on that side because they look really awful.
I know, but I think that there is a difference between same-sex marriage and the issues surrounding the questions and debates surrounding the transgender community, because it's not just two people who love each other who want to get married and don't want to bother anyone. You get what I'm saying? Like, that has no impact on any other part of society. But women did fight hard to establish women's sports. And so how do you do this in a way that is fair to women, but also inclusive and fair to transgender women as well? And that is not an easy question. It's not. I know people would like to think of it as black and white, but it's not.
Sure. And look, I think that if that conversation is to be had, it should be had with a very large percentage of trans people.
Sure, and women too. I mean, women matter too. So both, okay? And,
yes.
And that conversation can't just be one-sided where someone who has concerns gets beaten down with allegations of transphobia. No, I think that caring about the rights of two separate groups of people matter.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But you guys are doing that transphobia more than anybody else. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. I mean, clamping down on activists, not clamping down, but criticizing. I mean, that's also transphobic too. I mean,
and you have to balance those rights.
I would say I would also like if the people who were involved in that conversation actually gave one iota of a damn about women's sports to begin with. It's largely
great point. Those guys don't. The Daily Wire.
And commentators that don't care at all about women's sports and are only
true.
Pretending to because they want to use it as a way to advance their transphobia. I also think that educating.
Actually, she doesn't care about sports. She doesn't care about sports anyways, Anna. So.
People about the current state of women's sports, how many trans athletes there actually are. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be great because I think so much of this conversation has been
exactly how many trans athletes are. He's talking more sense than Anna. I mean, it's a great point.
And by conservatives who are lying about their impact on the sports overall.
Exactly.
But there's also a reason for that because
exactly. like they're saying there's all these there's a lot of trans people, trans women in the sport. Oh, there's a lot, hundreds maybe. Oh, maybe a lot, thousands, who knows? It's like minuscule amounts. I mean, 1 or 2%, not even that, probably less than 1%. And then see, she's following their argument.
I think a lot of people on the left, and I'm not saying leftist, just broadly speaking on the left, are afraid to engage in that conversation from a good place, a good faith discussion. I keep repeating that because like that is genuinely what I think needs to happen. Because once they even try, they immediately get lumped in with conservatives who clearly are not interested in engaging in a good faith discussion. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would just point out that you can engage from a position of good faith and intellectual.
No, not really. But there's someone on the left who don't really care about this issue. And I think seriously, some on the left don't really care about this issue. I mean, this is not a big thing. Like, this is down under, especially sports. But the other thing they do, the trans sports, they don't really care about this. I think some on the left don't. Like me, I don't care about this. I don't really. I mean, sports, I don't really. It's not a big issue. Like me, I don't care about this. They're making a video. This is silly. But some people on the left, like TYT and Majority Report, Secular, they really care about this. So they all make videos on this, interestingly. And a lot of their audience are trans people. So I don't think that I think most on the left don't really, like a large majority don't. I don't know about the trans issue itself, but the sports, especially this issue, no. I mean, there's another part of the left that, there's other greater issues they care about. And the war, now they're more focused on the Israeli war, most of the left. See, they're in the streets now, more the leftists, protesting about the war, Israel and Palestine, or Hamas, I should say. And this issue is far down the ladder. So the left is not really focused on this right now. This means that these left channels, TYT, Majority Report, and Secular Report, are all glued to this thing. It's not a big issue, I think. See, they're afraid of it, but some of them don't care about this. I don't care about this. Sorry.
Honesty in thinking that you should be able to play sports on the team of your identity. Like, it's not only
am I being transphobic? Maybe. I don't. No, but this is not a big issue. I don't care about. So they could do what they could try. They're adults. They could change their gender. I don't care. Do what they want. But this would be an unfair advantage for them, for the women, right? But apparently I hear that they're supposed to be like, they take medication to reduce their testosterone or something, so they don't have an advantage, apparently. So this shouldn't be, but there's some outlier cases that they don't do that, or in some cases it's elevated. And in some in the Olympics they test them their levels anyways in the Olympics. Like some the track athletes, they check their their levels, if it's high or not. If it's too much testosterone, they can't compete actually, or they're banned. So it's interesting. But this happens more over there than here, because they're more, I think. I mean, these sports, the North Americans, but happens way over there more than here, actually. Even that's a minuscule amount too, if you look at it. I mean, 1% of the athletes, maybe. I mean, minuscule amounts.
People who are critics of the inclusion that are operating from good faith is all I'm saying.
No. Hold on. Let me just be abundantly clear.
Huh.
I don't think that the Daily Wire hosts are engaging in good faith at all. Okay? But I do think
We
that
understand
there is
that.
a very aggressive effort to shut down anyone who actually is coming at this from a place of empathy, from a place of wanting to balance the rights of two separate groups of people. Like, they immediately lose their minds about it and immediately lump you in with, Matt Walsh or whatever it is. I think that's unfair, and it just serves to
Oh, I know why. She probably might. Oh, they did that. They probably did that to her. Oh, Lord. That's what happened, folks. Probably in the trans community. They call her a right winger and all this. Oh, my God. So they probably did that to her. Definitely.
down conversation, and it leads to more resentment. It doesn't solve the problem.
No, it doesn't mean. Okay, this is not a big deal. That's why. And you're lumping yourself with Matt Walsh and these guys. Okay, making a big deal about this. It's not a big deal. That's why.
Yeah, that might be. Look, it's hard for me to say because
might be.
the stakes are hypothetical for me. It's not a thing that affects me.
Exactly.
I know you're a guy. Of course, it doesn't affect
100%,
you.
but I'm also a cis guy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The people who are reacting very negatively might well be trans, and for them, it might be a very important. Like, the stakes could not be higher in some of these cases.
See, John's more. He's the one to defend his base, John. Because some people, they have some LGBT people, or LG, gay, lesbian, and whatever, trans. They watch his show, so he doesn't want to offend them either. He doesn't want to offend his audience too, kind of. I don't think he doesn't want, but I don't think she doesn't care about offending her audience. I don't think they care about their so-called trans audience anymore, folks. They on the main show at least. But John doesn't want to offend his audience, I think. Plus, he has a different view. He's not transphobic like she is. I mean.
Yeah, and the stakes are
Particularly for
super
teens
high
who
for
are-
like professional female athletes as well, women athletes as well. So I just don't understand why, in this particular case, the rights of one group don't matter at all. They just need to shut up and not engage in any of this debate. And the other side, it's like, no, we just need to accept it. They're the only ones who are coming at this from good faith. I just disagree with that, and I think that the
I don't think they're affected that much. Like, you have one or two incidents that, certain incidents that happen and they're getting an advantage. But I bet in most cases it's not. I don't think it's a big deal, once again. But no one's taking one group over the other. And people are against it. You see the polls. People think they shouldn't be in the sports. So people's on your side, Anna. Most people's on your side. But it's not a big deal to me. To these guys, this is a big issue. This is why, I don't know. There's more serious issues to focus on. But TYT, I think they're right. The TYT, the Sam Cedar left. They talk about this. RBN's right, I guess. Sam Cedar left. The TYT left. They're totally different. Even Jimmy Dore, but Jimmy Dore is like, he's anti-trans, I think. Or anti-gay. But, yeah. So most people, this is new to most people. This is all new. And to make it a big deal, these guys go deep in the culture wars, see?
conversation needs to be had, and people like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, all those folks at the Daily Wire are making it more difficult
Doesn't need to be
for people
had.
to engage in that conversation.
No, that's it. No, it doesn't need to be had. Does not need to be had. Right now, it doesn't need to be had. Not a big issue. I mean, nobody thinks of this. It's foolishness. I mean, come on. I mean, for the people who are in the, they deal with it. See, John is more nuanced. He said they're into this. It's more of their issue. Look, it's more of their issue. And he understands, like, they're into it. That's what John was saying. It's more he's as a cis person, yeah, me too. It's more their issue. So I understand it's a big deal for them. But for most people, it's not right now. And you're taking the other side of it. You're going against them. I mean, yeah, you're going against them. I'm sure it's a big. I mean, I think we should take like a even approach, kind of. See what they're doing. See what they're doing, like banning they're making bans so they can compete. So I think that's what they're complaining about. I don't think she's really, if honest, I don't think she agrees with the poll. So I think she's not being honest herself. But right now, this is not happening. Like, see, they can make a big deal of it if they want. The trans people who are doing this, the activists, they could fight for their cause. But right now, it's not a big issue. I mean, there's not much. It's not happening what she's saying. Like, she's going into their argument, Ben Shapiro's argument. They're saying a lot of these people. There's a lot of trans people in the sports. Oh man, a lot of trans women. A lot. Oh man, there's so many. She's buying into their argument more. She's saying there's a faith. There's it's supposed to be at the other side, but it's not happening like that. I don't think so. No. They're not really being this. There's some cases, yeah, but it's not really happening. And this is like all for right now. But the bottom line is this is not a big issue, and this is not a culture wars. Going into the culture wars, I mean, she complains about often, so much culture wars, and they go into it themselves. And stop doing stories with culture wars if you don't like the culture wars. Anyways, I'm out, folks. Till the next one.